Welcome to Beckway Balance, where we bring you insights and voices from Perth's accounting frontline. I'm Nadene Lewis-Laing, and together we'll unpack the stories, the challenges and the wins that define accounting careers right here in WA. Welcome to Beckway Balance. I'm Nadene Lewis-Laing, founder of Beckway Professionals. Today's guest has a career story I know well. When Hall Chadwick WA were expanding their senior team, I placed two directors there at the same time, both in their early 30s. One of them is here with us today. Bryce Scidone has risen quickly in public practice, building advisory capability, leading teams, and balancing a demanding career with family life. We're unpacking how he did it and what he's learned and where he sees the profession heading. Bryce, welcome to Beckway Balance.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, it's welcome. It's a pleasure. It's good to see you. You reached director level in your 30s. How long have you been an accountant? And when you first stepped into public practice, did you ever imagine progressing this quickly?
Yeah, so all started in 2012 for me. So coming around to 14 years in practice. Started off with a firm by the name of Crowe Horwath. And yeah, for me, really just approach things one milestone at a time, so to speak. So yeah, you come in, probation, accountant, get your CA out of the road. Yeah, so did that without any, I guess, real view on what the future would hold longer term.
Fair enough. And so, how long did you say you've been an accountant for?
Yeah, coming around to 14 years.
14 years, a long time. Okay.
Yep.
So there's a bit of a fun backstory to your move. You and your colleague both joined Hall Chadwick at the same time, both as directors. What was that experience like walking into senior leadership alongside a peer from day one?
Yeah, so obviously a little bit unique. I think when you're changing roles, you don't always envisage coming in holding hands with someone from the last job. But yeah, obviously a massive credit to yourself in that process and how you went about that. But yeah, definitely a unique experience and found that to work out really well.
Yeah. Did you find moving across with the other director, like, did the transition become easier for you, or was it like an extra added layer of motivation?
A little bit of both, I would say. Yeah, easier in the sense you've got someone on day one you're collaborating on projects with and things like that. But from a motivational point of view, I think that really helped out as well. We both wanted to see that we both did well out of it, things like that. Yeah, I guess an added layer of motivation that came with that as well.
Superb, love that. Over the years, you've developed strong skills across advisory, cloud systems, and business structuring. How did you carve out that niche early in your career, and what do you think helped you stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, so I think in the early days as an accountant, there's a lot of rote learning, routine tasks, and things like that while you bed down the fundamentals, so to speak. But I think with that, as a graduate or a junior accountant, there's a bit of an opportunity. You're coming in, your studies are fresh in your mind, and you're looking at things with a fresh set of eyes. So I think there is the opportunity, you bring a new perspective to the engagement. And I think that always gets looked upon favourably. So it might not be an idea that the team run with, but the fact that you're bringing new things to the table, I think that sort of, yeah, sets you apart from the pack a little bit.
Excellent. I love that. Definitely have stood out in your career, that's for sure. You've done really well. So, looking at sort of mentorship, so you've moved up pretty quickly and you've seen both sides. So, being mentors and now mentoring others. What do you look for in emerging talent, and what advice do you give young accountants who want to accelerate their progression?
So I think it's still the age-old trait. So it's the commitment, the motivation, and things like that. But I think what's really critical early on in the phase of your career is obviously get the foundational aspects, the fundamentals, because that's really the foundation that you then can build off that you take through your career.
Excellent. And when you stepped into the director role at Hall Chadwick, what were your first priorities and how did you approach earning credibility as a new leader in a new environment?
Yeah, so again, moving at that director level, yeah, it's not a straightforward
Mm.
transition. I think key initially is just gaining the trust and rapport with the team. And that's not something that you can just get instantly. That takes time. You're building up relationships with people, building up trust, etc. That was definitely the priority coming in, is getting in sync with the team and things like that. Yeah, then systems, processes, all of that. So you've got the back end ready to go. It's then a case of, yeah, developing again that same trust with your clients, which doesn't happen overnight either. Yeah, that was definitely the key focus from the outset. And yeah, I guess an ongoing piece of work.
Excellent. You're leading at a senior level at the moment while raising a young family. How have you learned to maintain balance, set boundaries, and what helps you stay grounded?
Yeah, so always been someone that's big on the work-life balance aspect, and that's pre and post children coming onto the scene. I'm quite fortunate. I've got a 2-year-old. She wakes up earlier than I do in the morning, and she's very much across the routine of things. So as soon as she finds out it's not the weekend, I'm getting yelled at to get up, have a shower, do the rest. But that tends to be my approach, really, is get up early, get in, do your work. Yeah, definitely want to make sure you're home on time for the family time in the evening. And yeah, in terms of staying grounded, yeah, there's nothing more grounding than having a 2-year-old telling you what to do and yelling at you and all the rest. That definitely helps.
Superb, excellent. So, looking at the way that you do things within Hall Chadwick, like what's one process, tool, or even mindset shift that's genuinely improved the way you deliver value to your clients recently?
Yeah, so definitely from a mindset point of view, there's obviously a lot of change out there in the industry at the moment, whether it be with AI and systems and things like that. So I think from a mindset point of view, just maintaining an open mind as to how things are, what trends are emerging in the industry, and remaining agile and flexible to be able to integrate some of those changes into our processes. And yeah, from a systems point of view, I guess in that AI space, there is a fair bit to leverage from. I think in terms of adoption and integration, it's still fairly early days in the industry. We know we've got the capability and the tools out there, but it's how you can introduce those into your processes, obviously in a responsible and managed way that the clients are going to see the benefit from. So again, still early days, but yeah, definitely leveraging from some of those tools. Key examples would be some of the research tools that are out there that can pretty quickly surface a lot of case law and tax rulings and things like that in relation to particular issues. And you take that away, and that forms the basis of a lot of your research and cuts hours or if not days out of that process. So that's just one example of yeah, how that's sort of entering the frame.
Absolutely. No, AI is everywhere. Everyone's talking about it at the moment. And we had like our first episode was actually someone talking about the AI profession as well, that's doing delivering tax advice as well through that.
Yep.
Very hot topic. From talking about AI again, from your perspective, what parts of accounting do you think will benefit most from AI? And where do you think the human element will remain irreplaceable?
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about the automation of routine tasks and things like that. When it comes to bookkeeping, data processing, I see AI making leaps and bounds in that space. I think that's going to be quite transformative. That then flows through to management reporting, financial analysis, and all of that. AI is getting quite good at doing that as well. I guess the part of it I don't see really replacing is obviously that relationship element, that the trust that I was talking to a little bit earlier. And it mightn't be as relevant on, some engagements with clients. I think there's some aspects where people are happy to have I be quite involved in it, and you don't need that face-to-face or human interaction in some aspects of the engagement. But there's definitely times in the life cycle of a client or of a business where I think that's really key. They've got someone in their court that they can speak to, have a genuine conversation with, and I can't see that side of things going away. I think what that means for people coming through the industry is obviously you need to know the technical foundations and the ins and outs of how reports and things like that are coming together, so that I guess, the mechanics that AI is using to generate a lot of the work that it does. But you need to know that to then do the advisory piece, or yeah, that, I guess, that more
Yeah, no, one-on-one, like just getting,
um
the client interaction. Like everybody would prefer to speak to their accountant and be able to ask questions and have that human element. I completely agree.
yeah, yeah.
Myself included. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't advise clients on the high end bit without knowing the basics, so to
Mhm.
speak. And I was at a forum recently where someone was talking about like authenticity and the value that will be in that going forward. There's talk about AI slob and all of that. So anyone can generate a response to a question, for example, through a chat bot or whatever the case might be. But it's the authenticity and knowing that's right, that's the value that clients are going to see going forward.
100%, totally agree with you. Couldn't say it better myself. So let's talk about recruitment process. Now that you're a director, you've interviewed and coached plenty of accountants over the years. When recruiting, what skills or qualities instantly stand out to you, especially those wanting to move into advisory or eventually into senior leadership roles?
Yeah, so I think key in that, in terms of what we look for, is definitely mindset. So obviously, as we've spoken about, there's a lot of change in the industry at the moment. So yeah, having someone that can sort of have an open mind and a fresh perspective on things moving forward, I think that's really key. Obviously, having the technical aspects and things like that. So you've come through your studies, you've got the basics bedded down. That's very much important.
Definitely. And talking about, I guess, the younger accountants coming through, what do you think young accountants often underestimate about the profession?
About the profession itself, I think there's a lot of talk out there, and there has been for quite some time, just that it's a dying art and all of that, and there's more attractive things to do out there. But yeah,
Mhm.
if you look out the window, the profession's thriving. Obviously, there's a lot of change that's coming with technology and things like that. But yeah, there's definitely a future in what we do. It just might look a little bit different to what, say, the last 10 or 15 years.
Absolutely. That's good. Good tips for the students out there.
Hmm.
So let's talk about collaboration. So Hall Chadwick has got a very strong culture and very collaborative there. And what makes a great leadership team today, and how do you work effectively alongside the other directors at similar career stages?
Yeah, so I think key there is just open and honest conversation. That there's meetings between the directors twice a month, and that's an open forum to air discussions about what's happening in the practice. We're a fairly young group, so in that
Mhm.
sense, yeah, quite, in terms of mentality, quite open-minded, very receptive to what's happening in the industry, and yeah, very open to how, as a practice, we're going to adapt and evolve in line with the industry trends.
That's brilliant. And then looking at, interested to hear your personal takeaway. So after everything you've achieved in your career and so early as well, like what's next for you? What keeps you driven and what do you hope to contribute to the profession in your next chapter?
Yeah, so I guess it goes back to the first question. Very much take things day by day, so to speak. Yeah, it's still fairly early days for me over at Hall Chadwick and betting in client relationships and things like that. But yeah, definitely want to be, I guess, at the cutting edge of the industry and the way it's going, and making sure that the clients of our firm and the staff as well can benefit from that.
Excellent. Well, that's brilliant. So thank you so much for answering all the questions that they've got. And I'm sure the accountants will take away a lot of those practical tips and insights from you as well. So thank you for joining me.
No problems. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, yeah. So Bryce, your story is just a brilliant reminder that the right opportunity can shift a whole career, and sometimes it's the conversations and connections behind the scenes that make all the difference. If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow Beckway Balance on Spotify and YouTube so you never miss a conversation from Perth's accounting frontline. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. You've been listening to Beckway Balance, insights and voices from Perth's accounting frontline. Follow us for more real stories and practical insights from Perth's accounting community.